Welcome back, my peeps. It's your boy, the Conscious Viking, here with episode 2 of how I became a professional boxer. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I was getting too used to island life. Every day at the beach, playing dominoes. You know, growing up in New York, we play dominoes all the time because we have so many Haitians and Dominicans in my neighborhood. But playing basketball, partying with my bros, it was paradise. But that, combined with seeing kids in the streets so late at night with no mentors, nobody guiding them, and hearing so many stories like this. Check this out. I've been here for a little bit, and me and this little guy been, we about to go eat right now because he told me all he ate today was a cupcake. This guy lives by himself. He has no family, no nothing. He comes out here and begs every day just so he can live. He lives by himself. You guys gotta see him. Habla con los personas, tú vivo solo.
Pues sí, mi gente, yo vivo solo. No tengo familia ni nadie. Y él me quiere ayudar. Yo estoy solo. No tengo familia. Estaba enconado desde chiquito. Me escapé y después vivo solo. Y él me está ayudando mucho.
That's crazy. I don't want to hear nobody's troubles or pains when I get back. ¿Cuántos años?
13.
13 years old living by himself. Come on. Crazy. I eventually stopped flying back and forth and made the Dominican Republic my home for now.
So it begins from New York to DR. New York to DR. And so it begins.
Remember, for a Viking, wherever we land is our home. And there will be many landings in the future. So, upon arrival to the Dominican Republic, the first investment I made in this country was a gym. But be sure to tune into my show, Hustling Habits, to see how I turn this into this. And in my show, Hustling Habits, that's basically what I show, different ways that I've made money in the past. I took over a gym and I turned it into a home for my youth boxing program. Now, I'll admit, at this point, I didn't have much to teach as I didn't know too much about boxing. All I really had was a 1-2, that's a jab cross, and a little bit of defense. But the purpose was really to get kids off the streets and to be a part of something where I can use this time to mentor these young people into being powerful adults. The first two fighters I found was Ronald and Samir, aka Chama. We worked together hard every day in the gyms. I actually knew Ronald for a long time, and I saw one day him and Samir sparring in the streets, and I said, no, guys, come to the gym and let's see what we can make out of this. We were getting so close to the point where they were actually bringing me their report cards to show me how their grades were doing, and I would reward them for getting good grades. Samir ended up becoming my little brother, actually, and as you can see, till this day, he's my champ. So, the program was going good, and I was getting new people every day, but there was still a limit to what I could teach, as I still had so much to learn myself. So I continued training. Even though, as you see here, I was training with a cast on my arm because I was in a motorcycle accident where I was dealing with a broken wrist in 2 places. Both sides of the wrist were broken. So yes, I had a broken hand. So I had to battle back from that. Just to show you another side of my Viking side. This was me fresh after the accident. Because all I could think right after the accident, see this knot on my head? All I could think was to call the guy who was working on the gym who wasn't answering my phone call and say, Maybe if he sees me in an accident, maybe now he'll respond to my call. But even after this accident, I was still training with a broken arm, still going hard, with the goal in mind. Working on my craft daily by going to other gyms and learning as much as I could so I could have more to offer back in my gym. So one day I was training at a gym and a trainer comes over to me and he begins to give me pointers on things that I need to work on. And I'll be honest, I kind of ignored him because I didn't know anything about him. And everybody has something to tell you about fighting when they see you training. But one day I had this one training partner who I really, really respected. We trained at MMA all the time. And I seen him asking, Coach Pat was his name. I seen him asking Coach Pat for advice on boxing. And at that moment, I knew that I needed to allow this guy to coach me. After a few months of training, I received this message from Coach Pat. Now at the time, I didn't have much interest in boxing professionally, but a week later, he reached out to me and said, Jay, I found out your age and you're a bit too old. When he sent that, I sent him a picture of this and said, these are the type of words that made me get this tattoo. He laughed it off and we left the topic alone for now. I would see Coach Pat whenever I'd go to this gym, and one day he said, Jay, I heard you got a bunch of kids at your gym. Can I come by and see what you guys got going on? To which I replied, of course. Now from that day that he came to the gym, he never left, we never separated, and we formed an amateur boxing program. We trained hard every day to work at getting these kids ready for their first amateur fights. In the process of training them, I realized that I had to lead by example to show these guys the definition of hard work. Because as much as we said it, they weren't getting it. So I started to lead from the front of the pack. And eventually, after the hard work and Coach Pat seeing what I could do, again he asked, Jay, what do you think about going pro? He basically said, Jay, you have so much power and you work so hard, I could teach you the rest. At first, I was a bit reluctant because I only have one gear. So I knew that if I agreed to train for a professional fight, I would train like a dog. I would work ridiculously hard and it would take away from the fun life that I was living here in this country. The dope thing about training here is, you know the saying, work hard, play hard. After we're done training, the views, the beach, it's a hop, skip, and a jump away. We're talking less than 5 minutes from where we train at. So we head over to the beach, or as you see here, we jump on some bikes and ride to another beach that's about 15, 20 minutes away called Cabarete. That's where Sue trains at. That's where his gym is at. And we'll go to that beach and just, have a good time in different ways than when you're living in the inner city and you go back to the block and chill. We go to the beach and chill. And honestly, I can't lie. It still amazes me that I went from this to this. So I said, Pat, I'm not really sure. And he said, Jay, one day if you have kids, you can take them to the professional website where you can find Floyd Mayweather, Mike Tyson, and the rest of your favorite professional boxers. And you can say, hey guys, look, your dad was a professional fighter. So at that point, I thought about it and I said, you know what? Let's do it. Another notch off the bucket list that I can say I accomplished in life. And that started the process of now I was training for my first professional fight.